Hello, lovers of learning. Now that you've downloaded the free version of Geometr Sketchpad and had a chance to explore with it, just what can Geometr Sketchpad do? In this second tutorial, we'll look at some of the geometric features, such as constructing points and lines and circles, and the dynamic features of Sketchpad, which means when you make a construction, you can change it into virtually an infinite number of different constructions. That's the powerful part of Geometr Sketchpad. But another component is to be able to construct algebraic functions, which is what your project is all about, constructing the linear function family. So we'll look at how to set up your coordinate axes, we'll look at how to get a linear function on your axes, and then how you can change that by changing some of the parameters. So let's do some more math. I have open here a GSP sketch, just a blank sketch, and on the left-hand side, what you'll always see are the tools that you can use to create some of these geometric objects. We'll demonstrate this very quickly and a few of the things you can do with them. So the tool that's selected is the selection tool. You'll use that most often, and we'll see how that works in a moment. I'm going to click on the point tool and just come into my blank sketch and click some points. I'm going to go back to the selection tool, click it, and the main purpose of that is to grab onto objects and pull them around. So I'm changing the location of these points by just clicking and dragging these points. I'll go down to the circle tool and click on that, and then just press and drag open a circle. This, of course, is the center point. This is the control point. That changes the radius of the circle if I push and pull on that. If I drag on the circle itself, I can change the location of that. The next tool is the line tool. Currently it's on the line segment tool, but if I press and hold that, I have this pop-out menu. I can create lines, rays, and line segments. I'll select the ray, so I press and hold and drag open the control point for the ray. The next tool down is the polygon tool. Again, that has a pop-out menu, and you can make the interior of a polygon without the line segments. You can make the interior of a polygon with the edges, and then just the edges with no interior. So I'll make a polygon here, so I click and I start opening this closed polygon. And again, with my selection tool selected, I can press and drag and move that around. I can change the sides of it and any of the vertices. A quick way to select several objects is to have the selection tool and then just press and drag open a selection box. So if I were to press and drag any one of these, then I'm moving all of those selected objects. Another important trick is when you're done either selecting something or creating something, always come into the white space and just click once to deselect everything. Otherwise, you may move something inadvertently that you did not intend to move. One last feature on this page is the text tool. You will have to create a text box, several text boxes in your project. So I'm going to click here and then go in the white space, and I'm going to drag open a text box. And you can see the text box, and I'll type in some text. And this toolbar here is the text tool. You can change the way that the text looks. You'll notice when I selected the selection arrow, the text is highlighted. I can now move that around. But let's say I don't like that color orange, so I have the text box selected, highlighted, and then I go down and let's change it to red. If I don't like that font, I'll change the font, and I can also change the size of that. To deselect it, just click in any white space and I can now move that around wherever I want it to be. This text box here, you can get rid of that by clicking on the close button, or up in the display menu, you can hide the text palette. That's important to remember because if you want to ever change the text, when I select it, I need that text palette back. So I go to Display, Show the Text Palette, and then I can make any changes on it. Another important feature of Sketchpad is to do transformations. And what I have here is just some figure and made with line segments and circles. And a transformation is a change. You can reflect objects, translate them, you can dilate them, and you can rotate them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on this segment, and it's highlighted, and then go up to Transform, and I want to mark that as the mirror. That's the term used for the line of reflection. So you may have noticed the icons on the line of reflection when I did that. And so now that's going to be the line of reflection for whenever I reflect something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the entire figure with my selection box. And with that selected, I go to Transform, and I want to go down to Reflect. And there's the reflection of the original, which is on the left. And again, the powerful features of the program, it's dynamic, which means if I move that line of reflection, then the image on the right changes accordingly. If I move objects on the original, let's say you don't come to class with your homework done, then that may be the face that you see. Or if you did come to class with your homework, then that may be the face that you see. Let's move on now to what you're going to have to do to create your linear functions. So I'm on a clean page. I'm going to go to the graph menu. I'm going to pull it down, and then I want to show the grid. And there's the coordinate axes, the y-axis and the x-axis, and then there's a grid behind it too. These 2 points, this is the origin, this is the unit point. I can drag that so that I change the grid size to whatever I want. That's acceptable right now. And in order to graph a function, I go back up to the graph menu and down to Plot New Function. And I get this window here. And notice the functions are written in function notation. In this case, g of x is equal. So I'm going to type in a simple function, g of x equals 2 times x plus 3. And as I type it in, you can see it coming out here. So I'm going to click OK. And there's the line, g of x equals 2x plus 3. I'm going to make that a bit thicker. So I select the line, and then I go to Display, and where it says Line Style, I'm going to make that a medium thickness. The color is okay with me. So there's the line, g of x equals 2x plus 3. So in your project, what you have to do is you have to change these parameters, the slope, which is 2, and the y-intercept, which is 3. We'll learn how to do that in a different tutorial, but another way I could do that is just to open up this function again. So I double click on the equation, and then I can go into this box, and let's change -3, and I click OK, and you'll observe the line has y-intercept -3 now. Let's do it again by changing the slope. Let me make the slope negative. So I now have g of x equals -2x plus -3, and there's the equation for this line. Play around with this a bit, try to graph different functions. You'll have to figure out how to graph a function written in standard form and graph a function written in point-slope form. Time to do some more math.